Hello there, how are you? Welcome back to How I Did It. Well, last week we left off where I put in my distribution sub panel. Today I'm going to tie that distribution sub panel, that 50 amp breaker, into the utility shed. Now, this glue that I'm using works. It will glue different types of pipes together, but it doesn't have the greatest hold. So of course, when you need something held, what do we use? Duct tape, or in this case, Gorilla Tape. Anyway, so far I have found that using the gas pipe as my electrical chase is going to be the perfect solution for cost savings for my underground utilities. It takes a little bit more finesse in order to make all of these connections. The other downfall here, instead of actually having, say, an electrical elbow, they were out of 1.25 and 1.5 electric elbows. So I ended up going to the water line and using the actual PVC 1.5 and 1.25 elbow. And then again, gluing it, taping it to doubly assure that it's secure, and then coming behind it with the plastic primer paint. Again, just so at a glance for safety, when people see this, if there is a fire or whatever, the firemen will know that that's an electrical conduit. It's not a gas conduit. So they can use the due care necessary in order to keep their safety as well as safety of anybody else that maybe would come to the property to visit. Now what's nice is some of these parts I purchased months ago. Other parts I haven't been able to find. Every time it seems that I go in to get it or I order it online, the order goes through and then they say, sorry, that's out of stock. So it's kind of a MacGyver setup using gas, PEX, and electrical, but it got the job done. Again, 1.25 straps to hold these in place were not in stock. So I just used some baling wire with a couple of self-tapping sheet metal screws as a temporary means of holding this assembly in place. Once I got that secured, can move the shovel out of the way and go ahead and feed these lines into the interior of the shed. Now I intend to mount another sub panel just to the left of that wire feed coming in, but that will be another project for tomorrow. So I'm going to go ahead, button up the outside. This has a nice gasket on it. It's waterproof. I'll go ahead, take my gray paint, finish painting up the yellow conduit so it all has a nice flow. Ta-da! The power of editing. And this will be what I will start working on in the morning. Good morning. We're back. Okay, now today's challenge is getting the sub panel mounted by myself. Yeah, a little bit of a stretch there, but I was able to get it, and the nice part of it was I used existing holes to attach that plywood. Then it's just a matter of setting this box in place and getting it level. Now the utility shed sub panel is going to be utilized to backfeed grid power into the barn, into my hybrid inverter. The logic behind that is, should the wind and the solar not keep my solar panels charged and the low battery cutoff kicks in at 10 volts, the grid power will automatically turn on when I am not around and keep my refrigerators and my freezers running. So with this sub panel, I'm going to actually split this kind of into two halves. Well, not kind of, I am. So this first video, or this week's video, is going to be getting the panel installed and getting it wired up. And it's kind of a repeat of last week's video, kind of redundant. But I just want to put that out there and show people you can do this. Worst case scenario is you have to hire somebody. There are a lot of intricacies to power, and power is dangerous, but what I have found is copper or green to ground, white or neutral to the neutral bar or neutral lug, and then your power phases, A phase and B phase, or your 110 leg and your 110 leg, each go to their individual lugs. It's not to underrate electricians, but it is to show you that you can do this. And if you don't feel comfortable doing it, by all means hire somebody. And remember, my motto, worst case scenario, is I have to hire somebody. The other thing that I'm pretty lucky with, I have a lot of really great resources around me, a lot of friends that are kind of jack of all trades and masters of none, to where if I do mess up something, they can look it over prior to me having to hire somebody. With the outrageous prices that we're looking at today, I think it's even more important that we at least give it a try. We don't want to hurt ourselves or somebody else trying something, but obviously we want to give it a try and save that money for something that we absolutely cannot do, or we don't have the equipment to do that particular project on our homestead. And this kind of just affords it. So in this case, the sub panel's in. I'm attaching the independent ground bar, so my green ground is coming in. And this ground bar will also have another copper ground going out to a grounding rod. Okay. I finally got smart and threw a level up on it just to make sure that it was level. I had to tweak it just a little bit. I did it off camera. Put your screw in the top and just let it hang left to right, and then run your two bottom screws in. Okay, so moving on, the grounding wire is tied to the independent grounding bar. Now what I am doing is tying the neutral or the white wire into the neutral lug or the neutral bar. And again, on your sub panels, your ground has to be separate from your neutral. Once you get your ground and your neutral in, then you do your A phase of 120 and your B phase of 120 into those positive lugs, and you're all set to tie your breakers in. Now, today's video is going to stop with the completion of the install of this sub panel. I'm waiting for a specific outlet to come in that will match my plug that I use to plug my Predator generator into, to actually backfeed into the hybrid inverter on the inside of the barn. Alrighty then, there you have it. The sub panel is completed. Now I am just waiting for an outlet that will match my Predator outlet to plug into to backfeed the hybrid inverter on the inside of the barn. Thanks for stopping by. You all have an absolutely wonderful and blessed day. I'll see you next time.